So, do we have a new boat? Are we building a new boat? Or are we just redoing an awful lot of the boat that we have? Hi, I'm Nika Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. Today I'm going through the list of the projects and the systems that we have redone or are in the process of redoing on our way to heading off cruising on Calypso. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Teak Guard from allguardproducts.com. Looking to refinish your boat's teak with a minimum of mess and fuss? Look no further. Their non-toxic water-based formulas for cleaning and finish will turn your teak from dingy to sparkling in no time at all. Carolyn redid all of her teak on board Barefoot Galley using Teak Guard and can't speak more highly of it. And once we get away from our own varnish, I'm looking forward to trying it on Calypso too. Use coupon code BG20 for 15% off of your order of $50 or more. allguardproducts.com. That's ALLGUARDPRODUCTS. Admire your teak, not maintain it. A friend of mine joked the other day and said, "Oh, I'm so looking forward to seeing this new boat you're building." And it made me realize, let's talk about all the things that we're doing to this boat. Some people think that a project boat is a great idea, that they're going to jump in and they're going to redo everything and it's going to be fabulous. And I'm a wholehearted proponent of that, but I think you need to be kind of aware of all the things that you might need to do or might want to do when you're talking about a project boat. Heck, we've had this boat for 30 years and we probably could have gone sailing without doing most of the things that we're doing to it. Well, minus a couple. But regardless, we've decided that we are redoing the boat, and these are the things that we're doing. In terms of systems, we put in a new engine in July of 2012, which currently has about 100 hours on it, which might tell you how little we've actually been able to go sailing. It's a Yanmar 3YM30. It replaced a Saab 10 horsepower, which was a great, awesome, hand-cranked single-cylinder engine, but 10 horsepower for a 14,000-pound boat was just a little bit small. So, new engine, totally redone. We are in the process right now in April of 2021, installing a brand new mast and boom with all new standing and running rigging. We've ordered new sails from Zoom Sails, a Cruising Code Zero and a 100% Genoa. We bought a new main from Littell Sails in 2011, but again, similarly, very few miles on it. New instruments, Raymarine Tri-Data Wind Speed and Depth. We purchased in 2020, installing 2021. We are installing an electric windlass instead of the manual one that we've had for 30 years. Got a brand new Mantis anchor, an M2 without the roll bar, a 45-pounder. Brand new batteries, new solar panels, building a new wind vane, new LED lighting throughout, and we did order new interior cushions that look spectacular from Yacht Canvas in Annapolis in 2021. So all of these things, basically, with the exception of the new engine and the new main, we are redoing in 2020 or 2021. In terms of spaces, we've redone the galley with new counters and outboard sliders, a new sink, new plumbing, new propane lines, new propane tanks, new fridge with a different location of it, redesigned the chart table. The quarter berth is now separated off from the lazarette with a storage bin added to that space. We redesigned the port side settee from it being a settee seat and bookshelf storage to a pull-out pilot berth, replacing our V-berth. We actually had redesigned and redone the starboard side in 2009, making the backrest a little less high. It was like shoulder height, and we bumped it down and changed how the backrest went and added a bookshelf over, which didn't have one before. In the process of redoing the forepeak from a V-berth with a head underneath it, which worked great when I was younger. Doesn't work so well now that I'm older. It's going to have its own head and shower and a workbench area up there, with the head relocating it from the cramped off-center facing aft head to a little bit less cramped, a little less off-center facing starboard. And whether we put in electric head or not, we haven't totally decided. And there will be a new bulkhead that is installed for the fuel tank in the Lazarette. When we did the new engine, we added a much bigger, the old fuel tank was a 10-gallon fuel tank, and we've got a 38-gallon fuel tank now for the new engine. On deck, we've got a new forward hatch. Jeremy's just finished rebuilding the forward hatch. We've got a spinnaker pole track on the mast. New canvas going over the whole boat that we are in the process of doing ourselves. Getting some stainless work done to build supports for the solar panels, and getting stanchion posts and lifelines. The boat doesn't have any stanchion posts or lifelines. And still to be determined or purchased really within the next year, we will strip the bottom paint and redo the barrier coat before applying hard bottom paint. We've got a mix of hard and ablative on there, and it's basically been 30 years since we took bottom paint off. So we're going to have it blasted off. Might get a chance to repaint the hull. We definitely need to rebuild the taffrail, rebuild the the companionway hatch, which is in quite dire straits. And we will buy a new dinghy and a new outboard to replace the, unfortunately, too large one that we've had since the early 90s. It's a fantastic, fantastic AB rib with a 15 horsepower outboard, but it's just too big for the sailing that we want to do, which is hard to believe. But where we want to stow the dinghy, there's not space for that particular one. So we will be getting a new one. One of the things that I did want to mention with all this, it's a little bit of a daunting list, and we probably would have had to do an awful lot of this to almost any boat we purchased. But what we might not have known is that we needed to do it. All of this stuff is, these decisions that we're making are the result of having lived with a boat for a lot of years. We know this is going to be the boat that we want to cruise on for a long time, hence the work to get it just the way we want it. If we had purchased a new boat, certainly things like the rigging, maybe the mast, possibly the engine, my bet is a lot of the galley stuff, all of that would have had to have been redone anyway, adding to the price of the boat. Would we have been better off? Certainly we'd be sailing faster had we bought a different boat, but we might not be having the boat that we want to have. And yes, it's going to feel like a brand new boat. Certainly when I look at the galley, it feels like it's a brand new galley in a brand new boat. And it's pretty awesome because it's all our work. Well, with a few things that we've had to have fired out. I hope that I can share excitement with you about your boat projects, and we can share our excitement about our boat projects with you when we share in Anchorage in the not too distant future. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. If you found it helpful or useful or daunting or crazy, please let us know. There are links in the show notes to emails for both Carolyn and me. We love hearing from you, and we love it when you subscribe and share us with your friends. Have the most spectacular week.